Okay, so why do our minds automatically hide the truth from the outside world? Today, we're diving into this explainer to unpack a universal, hilarious, and honestly just exhausting modern struggle. It's that absolute knee-jerk reflex we all have to completely hide our internal chaos. We're going to look at exactly why, even when your world feels totally upside down, your brain is just hardwired to project this calm, unbothered exterior to literally everyone around you. It's such a deeply human quirk, and I can pretty much guarantee you're going to recognize yourself in the next few minutes.
Picture this. You're having one of those mornings. You know the ones. Your clothes are a mess, your left eye is literally twitching, and the universe is just throwing curveballs left and right. Then, someone looks at you with deep, genuine concern and asks a very simple question. Are you okay? Now your inner mind, it's running around frantically, screaming that we are absolutely not fine. But your mouth, well, it just bypasses your brain entirely, forces a totally normal smile, and delivers that classic, polite lie. Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's great.
There is this massive, almost ridiculous disconnect between what we say and what we're actually experiencing in those moments. On the outside, it's a carefully curated, perfectly chill, I'm fine. But on the inside, it's an absolute dumpster fire. You've got 37 completely separate problems bouncing around your brain at warp speed, and you genuinely don't even know which one to fix first. The gap between the composed character we play for society and the frantic, overwhelmed person we actually are inside our heads, it's staggering. And honestly, a little hilarious when you really stop to think about it.
So how do we get there? Well, this whole "I'm fine" reflex doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It's usually the result of a very specific sequence of events, where modern life just throws absolutely everything it has at you, and your internal stress just quietly skyrockets without a single person noticing.
Let's walk through how this hidden pressure builds up chronologically. It always starts small, right? At 7 a.m., your alarm just outright fails you. You wake up in a sheer, blind panic, rush to get ready, and immediately drop your breakfast all over the kitchen floor. You just stand there staring at it, letting the defeat wash over you. By 8:30, because you were cleaning up spilled coffee, you miss your ride and arrive late, already sweating and totally out of breath. Then boom, 11 a.m., the domino effect claims its final victim. A tiny, completely normal mistake at work or school suddenly snowballs into a massive problem, and someone actually points it out to you.
Watch what happens to our internal stress meter as these daily disasters just keep piling up. We start the morning at a perfectly manageable, totally normal 10% stress. Nothing crazy, but by the time we miss that bus and stumble in late, we're vibrating at a solid 50%. And after that work mistake, we rocket straight up to 99% stress. We are borderline at a complete system failure. Error 404, emotional stability not found. The internal alarms are absolutely blaring. But even through this escalating nightmare, if a coworker walks by and asks how your morning's going, you are still just smiling brightly and saying, "Good, just peachy."
So, why do we do it? Why are we lying? When your laptop freezes, your coffee spills, your phone is at 1%, and you get a terrible email all in the exact same afternoon, why do we instinctively look people right in the eye and say everything is fine? Your inner self is screaming about this deception, begging for some validation, wondering why on earth we can't just be honest. But our minds have figured out an incredibly simple truth when it comes to social survival. Honestly, it's just easier to lie.
Because here's the thing. Hiding the truth isn't actually about being deceptive or intentionally shutting people out. Not at all. When we say, "I'm fine," what we actually mean is, please don't ask me another question because I have absolutely zero idea how to explain this. We hide the truth because the mere prospect of opening our mouths and trying to untangle the absolute knotted mess of our feelings is entirely too exhausting. We literally do not have the physical or mental bandwidth required to unpack the chaos.
To truly get why it's so impossibly hard to explain, we've got to look at how the human mind actually organizes all this stress. You guys, it operates exactly like a conspiracy board of truth. When someone asks you to explain what's wrong, your brain doesn't just neatly pull up one simple logical file folder. Nope. It pulls up this giant chaotic bulletin board where every single tiny stressor is frantically connected to every other stressor by miles of crazy red string.
It is never just the spilled coffee. It's work, it's money, it's relationships, just general existential stress, terrible sleep, relentless overthinking, and, my personal favorite, things from literally 6 months ago that you are somehow still agonizing over today. When you try to start a sentence with, "Well, it's just that," your brain looks at this massively interconnected web of burdens and realizes that explaining it properly would take like 4 hours in a whiteboard. So you just give up entirely, swallow it down, and say, "Never mind, I'm fine."
And this builds into this incredible double life we all end up leading. The contrast is absolutely staggering. As your public self, you're hanging out with friends, someone tells a joke, you smile, you laugh, you're acting totally normal and engaged. But your inner self is sitting in a room in absolute darkness, completely overwhelmed by that conspiracy board, just clutching handfuls of red string. It's this flawless execution of a normal public persona, perfectly masking absolute internal panic.
Eventually, though, the smiling gets too exhausting. You get a little quiet, and someone is bound to notice. When they ask, "Hey, why are you so quiet today?" we deploy the ultimate backup plan, the universally accepted excuse. We say, "Oh, I'm just tired." It is the perfect bulletproof deflection. You say you're tired when in reality your inner self is screaming because you've actually just been overthinking the exact same awkward interaction from last Tuesday for 3 hours straight.
Navigating this double life requires us to constantly shift our emotional masks. It creates this continuous, exhausting loop across every single environment we enter. Let's walk through it. Step 1, at work, you're fine. Step 2, with friends, totally fine. Step 3, you finally get a second to yourself, you lock the bathroom door, look in the mirror, and quietly admit to the silence, "Okay, I'm not fine." But then, Step 4, you hear a footstep outside the door. Instantly, your posture straightens, your expression flips back, and you announce to the world, "I'm fine." We relentlessly reset that mask everywhere we go.
But eventually, the mask slips just enough. So what happens when someone actually notices? This is a pivotal and honestly terrifying moment. After a perfectly terrible day, you're unusually quiet, and a friend or family member asks if you're okay. You give the automatic, "Yeah, I'm fine." But this time they don't accept it. They look right at you, push back, and say, "No, seriously, are you okay?" Suddenly, you're face to face with the reality that your automated defenses have completely failed.
What's fascinating about this is that the best response to this moment isn't what you might expect. Breaking this habit of hiding the truth, it doesn't require a clinical therapy session, and it certainly doesn't require some big, inspirational, motivational speech. When a friend refuses to accept your "I'm fine," the most powerful thing they can do is just sit beside you. No dramatic speech, no pressure to explain the conspiracy board, just simple, understated presence. It's exactly this lack of pressure that allows your inner mind to finally lower its guard.
And out of that pressure-free silence comes this beautiful, profoundly human realization. You can just have a bad day. You slowly admit that honestly, you're just having a rough one. And when your friend tells you that it's okay, and that you don't need to explain a single thing to them, wow, the relief is immense. Sometimes we don't need solutions, right? And we definitely don't need an audience for our chaos. We just need someone who notices and who gives us permission to simply not be okay.
Healing from this pressure isn't about spilling your entire life story to every single person you meet on the street. It's really just about one small step of progress. It's when someone passing by asks how you are, and instead of that automatic reflex kicking in, you take a breath, you pause, and you say, "Honestly, a little tired." And they just nod and say, "Same." It's surprisingly easy, and it is a massive step forward for maintaining our own internal emotional stability. So, the next time you find yourself automatically saying those two words while your mind is entirely on fire, remember this. Sometimes "I'm fine" doesn't mean you're lying. It doesn't mean you're broken. It just means, "I don't know how to explain it yet." And that is perfectly, absolutely okay. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to think about. Who is the one person in your life you can drop the "I'm fine" mask for today?